This is Charlie Parsons from the Stomping Ground.
How good was that derby game you went to the other day?
Oh, mate, let's not talk
Southampton,
about that.
Portsmouth.
I was really geeing myself up
What was
for
the
it
score?
in front of all. It was 0-0.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And Portsmouth were
You
really
remember
up.
the boys, were you?
Yeah, come on, giving it large. I actually wasn't.
I did an interview today with I'm Just Bait.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the first thing they asked me was about you.
Do you know what they call that?
What?
Generational aura pull.
Generational aura pull.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you aura aura farm? Actually, you always aura farm.
What?
Do you know what aura farming is? No, that's like the dance, but yeah, I'm here for that.
What is aura
but
farming?
The concept of aura farming is kind of doing things to, you know, when people go, oh, he's got aura, like you would about Conor Benn, for example.
Right.
People often say that about Edward John Hernandez.
Right.
Do you ever intentionally do things in the hope that people will kind of go, ah?
Is aura farm a thing that you do?
You kind of, yeah, if you're like farming aura, you kind of know that people think that you look the bollocks while you're doing something.
Right.
Can you think of an example
What has
where you
happened?
farmed aura?
No, I actually, off the top of my head, I can't think of an example where I farmed aura.
Not like a top table at a press conference?
What, farmed aura? No, just me.
So you just had aura anyway?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't need to farm it.
You don't farm it? No, we are fine. One day I'll get to that
I don't
point,
agree with
Edward.
farming aura. You've either got aura or you haven't. You can't fertilise that shit.
You can't fertilise your aura.
No, you can't. On the farm.
What have you been saying since Saturday night?
What have I been saying?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously got back Sunday. You know, the tragic news
Yes.
about Ricky Hatton. I think just made everybody feel sick to their stomach.
Brutal.
Sunday, Monday. Obviously, the documentary launched on Netflix today, which has gone extremely well. Racking up the ratings, as they say, you know, in the documentary world. And we're here now for the big one. Eubank Jr., Conor Benn2, back at Spurs. Press conference about to get underway.
I've got a thing to pick up to you on that. So, England rugby legend Marcus Smith dropped me a WhatsApp this morning saying, see you in episode 1. So I fucked off going to the gym, right, to watch episode 1. And obviously I've signed a waiver to appear in it. I didn't see myself. So
no, you weren't in it.
I think the people are crying out in the next one for more Parsons content.
I think you are in it. Do you remember when we were in the what's it called? The buggy, the tram. The
cable cars. That's the part I thought would be
you're in it. Yeah, maybe they took you out.
Oh, I would be.
I'm sure I've seen you in it.
That was a great bit of content.
What show was that?
That was
Usyk?
No.
Fury?
No, it wasn't. It was Joshua Ngannou.
Oh, no.
And so that's what I mean. It must have got pulled.
What a shame.
Scandalous. Very quickly, some geezer come up to me on the train and go, oh my God, you're Charlie Parkinson's. That's what I've resorted to.
That's an incredible story.
Okay, thanks. I would like to address, like you just touched on briefly, but just kind of more so in depth, obviously, the tragic passing of Ricky Hatton. I don't know anyone who's got a bad word to say about him. He was just so joyful, just such a great character to be around, charismatic. Really, really, really sad news.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like you said, I've never heard anyone say a bad word about Ricky Hatton. And, you know, the boxing world is generally very opinionated and sometimes toxic. And, you know, even people who I think are great blokes, I've heard people say bad things about, but never Ricky Hatton. He knew everybody as well, you know, like, and that's why I think it cuts so deep. He made everybody feel like he was your mate. And I think that's why he was so popular. Don't forget that Ricky Hatton was the kind of last breed, if you like, of certainly boxing superstars, definitely in this country, pre-social media. And in a world that we live in now, which is, you know, sadly about views and having content teams to make yourself look good with good deeds and stuff like that, he was someone that built popularity purely on the cleanliness of his heart and how he was to other people and how he was in the ground in his city. You know, and everyone knows Ricky Hatton was one of the lads. I mean, that was what made him so popular. He'd finish his fight, he'd be in the pub, he'd be off to Tenerife, he'd be on the karaoke. He was a guy that had so much life, and that's what's so sad about it. 46, it's no age at all, and he was a very selfless guy. Like, he had time for everybody. You've seen loads of people posting stuff this week about videos he did for people, and he was probably a guy that really needed to help himself at times, and always chose to help others first, which goes to show you the man. And it's so sad, because, like I said, everyone knew Ricky. Like, it wasn't just, oh yeah, I saw him once. You felt like you knew him. Obviously, we worked with Campbell Hatton his whole career, and Ricky was around a lot. He was a great dad, let Campbell do his own thing, but just so you could tell how much he cared. Matthew, his uncle, just all great people. And it's a cruel world, and all we can do is give strength to those closest to him, and he will be remembered not just as one of the great fighters in British boxing history, but just a great bloke. A great bloke.
I think it's just like you mentioned as well. Everyone's got a video and a story, and I think that kind of adds to it as well. It's just so nice. We are here in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today for a very small matter, Edward. That small matter being what was one of the biggest fights I've ever been at in person, first time round. The announcement press conference. We go again, we run it back. Was your bum hole going at one point that we wouldn't get to sit here a little bit, despite all of the kind of bravado?
I have to say, there were times when, I think Eubank would retire, but the first fight was incredibly physically taxing on both men. Both men ended up eventually that night in hospital, and Eubank was there for several days. And there was definitely a feeling of, are they going to want to run it back? I mean, the money's obviously huge, but do you want to go to those places again? And, I have to give, despite our differences, I have to give Junior respect, because he went to some deep places that night. Both of them did. And they're choosing to run it back and go to the same places where they will definitely be going in this fight. So, the first fight date, which was September 20th, didn't get off the ground because, Eubank physically said he wasn't ready for that fight. So we're here now, November 15th, back at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and back for another thriller.
I don't want to kind of touch too much on what we expect from the press conference, because it will only have been out for maybe an hour or so before, but obviously Chris Eubank Jr. never tends to let you talk much.
Yeah.
Frank Smith's here, he doesn't tend to let him talk much. How do you expect
there's
it
not
to
a lot
play
you
out?
can do. I mean, if someone's going to continuously talk over you, there's not a great deal of point trying to speak. There's not really a lot for me to say. I could actually give my speech now, just in case he doesn't let me speak. Yeah. So thanks, Jamie. I mean, look, obviously, first time around, what we saw was an incredible battle. One of the greatest battles I've seen in the history of boxing. And, despite our differences, I have to give respect to Chris Eubank Jr. for the depths that he went to in that fight for victory. Both guys were exhausted physically. Both guys gave every inch of their soul. But this time around, it's going to be different. Conor Benn was plagued with inactivity. The controversy of everything that happened. His first fight up at 160. This time we will be controlled, we will be spiteful, and we will continue to be violent. And on November the 15th, we truly believe that we will get the equaliser back at Tottenham. 1-1 to settle the score, live and exclusive on DAZN around the world. That is what I would say.
Why do I get the feeling you'll just get to say thanks,
Yeah,
Jamie?
I'll go, thanks, Jamie. Well, and then it'll be, well, no, who told you could spit?
Eddie.
Eddie,
Have we got a Frank Smith roll-on, roll-off substitution this time?
I'm not into, I'm sure he's going to have all these things up his sleeve and things written down, but
everyone talks about the Eubank camp. I know Napa, I know people in the team, and everyone's dealings with them are absolutely delightful. I have to say, whenever I've spoke to Chris, he's been all right with me. But when everyone has such positive dealings with the team, I mean immediate team, why is it always so different with Chris?
It's just his thing. I don't think, I've never really had a relationship with him in any way. I've actually never really had a problem with him. but clearly has a problem with me. I think sometimes you get told things. Like, he seems to think that we've been trying to disrupt his career. Not really. We nearly signed him before the before the Conor Benn fight, and we worked with him a few years ago, a couple of fights. So I don't really have any emotion towards him, and I respect the fact that he's a tough man, especially with the upbringing that he had, which was a privileged one, same as me. So, in that respect, socially I find him quite difficult. But yeah, for some reason, he really doesn't like me. So I guess I'm not going to be changing his mind anytime soon, so on we go.
A win here leaves so many options for Conor, like you say, 1-1. Could we potentially have a third here? Obviously, Lewis Crocker victorious for the IBF welterweight title on Saturday night. You mentioned names like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, etc. What do you see over the next kind of year to year and a half for Conor Benn?
I mean, look, obviously the first fight was exceptional, and I can't see the second fight being anything different than exceptional. So in that respect, if Conor was to win, which we believe he will, the third fight, of course, becomes an option. But these fights were made because there was an opportunity to be part of a huge event and a huge fight, and financially it was a great opportunity for Conor Benn. He wants to win a world title, so I'm pretty sure this is his last fight at 160. Crocker's win at the weekend, he wants to fight Conor Benn. Most people at 147 want to fight Conor Benn. Conor Benn likes the Barrios fight, but there is a very good chance that in early spring Conor Benn could face Lewis Crocker for the world welterweight title. It would be a massive fight. But all the focus right now is on Chris Eubank Jr.
Just kind of getting ahead of that. We saw how electric Windsor Park was on Saturday night. Do you see that being, I suppose, one of the biggest fights ever to go to Belfast? Would you look at London?
I mean, look,
that's what
you've got to generate the biggest gate. We know that in London at the O2, probably that's where you would generate the biggest gate for a fight like that. You would also probably bring over 10,000 Belfast fans, Crocker fans for that fight as well, travelling. And Conor Benn's going to, fill the stadium. So that for me is a huge fight. But that's my job really, and his management team's job, to just beaver away in the background and just make sure we've got the path set post November 15th. Conor has no interest in talking about a potential fight with Lewis Crocker. It's just Eubank and revenge.
Canelo-Crawford, not just the fight, the product as a whole. There was so much talk in the week. People were asking you about Max Kellerman's speech, everything. A couple of Dana's comments in the past have gone, these guys put boxing shows on and then they have a podcast in between fights, stuff like that. It was a very late main event.
Yeah.
Just the product as a whole. Obviously, it's something new for Dana, right? And also it's...
Yeah,
let's be honest,
Dana.
it's also his excellency.
It's not really Dana.
That's what I mean.
His excellency's calling all the shots. I was quite shocked because I woke up for a flight back to the UK, back to London from Belfast, and it was 6 o'clock I woke up, and it was like the 5th or 6th round. Oh, yeah. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I haven't watched the first 6 rounds, but whilst I was getting ready, I was pretty much watching the back end of the fight. The fight itself played out exactly. I was actually really kicking myself because I've been leaning towards Crawford the whole way, and just on Friday and Saturday I was like, no, actually I'm going for Canelo, and what happened in the fight was exactly what I thought would happen in the fight. But I thought Crawford, it did what he did. He was exceptional. He's an exceptional fighter. Canelo, people talking about him getting old, I don't think you can really put it down to that. I just think it was the style of Crawford is a really bad style for Canelo Alvarez. The event itself looked great. I haven't really, watched the whole broadcast. Numbers look great. It's just really positive for boxing. It's an event that was watched by tens of millions of people around the world, and it showcased the very best of our sport. And that's what we want. We want the biggest fights to get made. We want platforms to continually invest in the sport. I think it's great that Dana White, it seems to be like this big thing at the moment, Eddie v Dana.
Yeah, you've mentioned his name a lot,
I'm cool with that. But at the same time, I also give him props and I respect him. You won't hear me say anything negative about Dana White. No, I don't think you will. I've got no need to say anything. He may feel that I'm talking about him. When you make a statement or the team make a statement, he's going to come and run boxing, he's going to be the CEO of boxing, blah, blah, blah. Of course, and people ask me for my comments on that, of course I'm going to say what I'm going to say, which is, good, we want the fight, and we're up for the fight. But there's no animosity, there's no dislike, disdain or hatred. It's just, a case of we respect those guys and we look forward to battle with them. The best v the best.
Out of curiosity, I saw your interview with Ariel Helwani, a couple of things that was discussed. Your relationship with Turki Alalshikh, when you say, I've seen an interview before, if Turki asked me to clean his shoes, I'll probably do it, I'll oblige. It's kind of that everyone's working for him. You don't necessarily get the feeling that... And one of the other things that we hear so much about this TKO belt and stuff like that, but to me, with His Excellency being a figurehead and a kind of... with the Ring magazine belt of everything, it would feel a bit bizarre to have the Ring, the full sanctioned body, and then a TKO belt come in that was the...
Yeah, I don't know anything about the TKO belt. I think I've had my comments on, I think fighters want to win the WBC title. They want to win the organisational titles. They're steeped in history and legacy. What I said about Turkey is Turkey's going to do whatever he wants to do. You're not really going to have the opportunity to get your own way. And that's just something you have to accept in the partnership and the promotion if you want to work with him. When we do this show, Ben Eubank, it's a Ring event. So, yeah, we're the promoters, but he's calling a lot of the shots, where the presser is, when the tickets will go on sale, who's on the undercard. But we accept that because it's a massive financial opportunity for both fighters, in turn, Matchroom as well. And, it means that the fight will happen. You imagine me trying to negotiate with Chris Eubank Jr. to make this fight. I mean, we'd have absolutely no chance. Turkey's very good at sitting in the middle, talking to both fighters and making sure we can get individual deals done.
Your man, MJ, not to be for him. Frank had a one-day trip.
Yeah, it was like, train I saw a lot of people, obviously I said that I bet the house on.
Yeah.
Listen, I truly believed MJ could beat Inoue, but also I wanted to be as vocal as possible to make sure we got the fight. He'd avoided him for 3 mandatory calls, and eventually we kind of talked ourselves into the fight, but MJ wasn't good enough, and Inoue was too good for him, and I respect that, and there's no point saying anything else other than I got it wrong. I believed MJ would win that fight, but the most important thing was to be able to talk our way into the opportunity. We did that. Unfortunately, Inoue was too good, respect to him, and that was an impressive victory from him.
Can we talk a little bit about pound-for-pound rankings? Mm-hmm. Terence Crawford has gone to number 1. No one can take away the feat of the magnificent performance. For me, undisputed at cruiserweight, undisputed at heavyweight twice. Ring magazine, it has to be Oleksandr Usyk still. What do you think?
I think that, in terms of the actual victories by Terence Crawford, I think the pound-for-pound number 1 should still be Oleksandr Usyk. But when you look at the actual achievements, was it 5-division world champion, 3-time undisputed? On paper, Terence is in with a great shout, but I just feel like going into all the backyards and beating the champions at cruiserweight, then moving up and beating AJ twice, Fury twice, Dubois twice.
You also can't really be a 5-weight world champion if you're a man of Oleksandr Usyk.
But on paper, what Crawford's done is so impressive. But I actually do have Usyk edging out the number 1 spot. Just because Crawford beat Canelo, I don't think that necessarily makes him pound for pound number 1. But he did move up 2 divisions to do it. So it's a very close run thing.
Just lastly from me on the Ali Act side of things, I saw a comment that Mick Conlon put in response to your comments, if I can find them. Removing the Ali Act is a huge red flag. UFC fighters are massively underpaid. Combat fighters risk their lives every single time they step into the ring or the cage. The Muhammad Ali Act needs to be kept. Just your kind of thoughts on everything going on there.
The Muhammad Ali Act is quite a strange act in the respect of you have to declare the revenue from the show for the fighters to see, right? Which is quite strange in a way, but it's there to make sure that the fighters are not manipulated financially. So we don't ever mind declaring the revenue for the show because we think our split of fighter purses to revenue is extremely fair. And guess what? I think the fighters do as well because no one's ever moaned. But if you're receiving a huge rights fee and you're only paying out small purses as a percentage of that, listen, really that should be up to you whether you want to do that. But people are going to be extremely unhappy. And I don't think TKO want people to see the value of their TV deal, which is what you have to put down when you're declaring the revenue. So, yes, I agree with Mick. I think it's a massive red flag. I mean, if I'm a fighter and I know that an act is in place to protect me and protect my best interest, and you're trying to get it revoked and removed, yes, red flag. But what they should do is do an interview, and I believe he's going to sit down with Sean Zittel, is it?
That'd be good. Yeah.
He said he'd do it. And hopefully they answer why. Why do you want to have the Muhammad Ali Act abolished?
Cool. Edward, final message to the viewers. What a press conference.
Ready to go. Eubank-Benn, November 15th. Ticket announcement coming very, very soon. Next up for us, October the 11th, live on DAZN. The big double-header. Dave Allen against Makhmudov. We're expecting 8,000 at the Sheffield Arena. And Boots, about the same crowd as well, in Philly against Lima. All live on DAZN. Don't miss it. We'll see you soon.
Give me an angry-looking thumbnail, please. Just go. Cheers, mate. Thank you.